All right, you guys, we are back, and I am here with my good friend Tia Lynn. Hi, Tia. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here.
Yes. Okay. So Tia is a marketing and confidence coach, a serial entrepreneur, and so many other amazing things. So I can't even cover it all. I am going to let Tia take the stage and tell us all about you and your journey. I want to hear about it. Everyone wants to hear about it. So Tia, tell us about you. Tell me how you got into all of this. This is absolutely amazing.
Awesome. Okay. So I am Sexy Biz Babe. I'm all about owning your sexy side in business. And honestly, I don't even know. It might have been almost 2 years ago now, maybe a year and a half. I changed my name to that, and everybody told me not to. Like, I was Level Up with Tia, which is more like fluffy and everybody can do that. And I just had this yearning inside my soul being like, no, like I'm meant to own my sexiness. I'm meant to help women own it and that you can be sexy and successful. Because especially growing up in Utah, that was not a thing. But let me tell you a little bit of how I got started. So, I started with a small little side hobby. And I'm sharing this because you should always start with something that you're passionate about and just explore it and do the scary thing. So I started about 7 years ago. I went to festivals and I started a clothing line because I saw these really beautiful outfits and I started making them. And there was a point that I was like, people kept asking me, like, where did I get it? And I was like, I make it. And so I just put it online. I just put it online and had somebody request to make one for them. And so I made them two outfits because she loved it so much. And then I was so scared to put it on Etsy. You guys, this was 7 years ago. I was about 23 years old. And I was like, okay, like there's so many things that could go wrong. Like, is it perfect enough? There's glue showing on the inside of the bra. This isn't pretty. And I was like, I was listening into business and self growth and everything. And it was like, just do it. So I put it out there. What's the worst that can happen? You guys, I just started like making these costumes. And to this day, I have about 4.5 stars on Etsy 7 years later. So I've only probably gotten 5 bad reviews in 7 years. So I started this clothing line just from following something that I love to do and then making it for others. And so that's like a big part of my journey. I did grow it to 6 figures, and a big part was hiring a business coach. I was already in marketing. I've already worked for multi-million dollar companies. I'm really great at marketing and sales. But there was a point in my business that I kept hitting a ceiling. I was like, I want to get higher. I want to get to this next level. And everybody kept telling me to hire a coach, stop doing it on my own. And I'm like, but I can figure it out on my own. I can just figure it out. And then finally, I was getting to my busy season where I do ugly Christmas sweaters. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen to these people, even though I'm super self sufficient, and just see what happens. And I'm gonna look for a business coach. My first call was like, lady, you're not a business owner. You're not making enough money. You're not hiring, like, you're doing all the work. You're not able to scale. And I was like, whoa, okay. And then so I started working on how I could scale and grow and prepared for it. And I called her later. It was the same business coach because she gave me that great knowledge. And then I was like, okay, I'm ready to scale. I have some things set up. I hired her. She blew my mind. She made me not just a little hobby entrepreneur to a fucking real CEO where I was hiring, I was getting wholesale, I was getting my LLC. She pushed me to get out of this small mindset and mentality and pushed me out of my comfort zone. And then after that, I was like, there was a point that I heard that I could be a business coach or a marketing coach. And I was like, really? No way. I have to have like multi-million dollar companies and blah, blah, blah. But I hired a online course on how while in Thailand. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go for it and let's just see what happens. And then while in Thailand, I decided to become a business coach. So that's kind of what started it all. And then it's kind of been a process from there. But I followed my passion, my flow, and my excitement and followed the fear.
That is absolutely amazing. I love, love, love that story. And of course, I'm going to like just dive deep into all of this. So, first of all, I love that you shared that you were so scared, because I think that so many entrepreneurs think that we like, when we make this shift and we decide to do this, like we're just like, yes, we're ready for this. Like, I know for me, that was not the case. Like, I started my first business six and a half years ago now. And oh my God, I was scared shitless. Like, I was
Yeah.
so scared. It's like, if there's just like that, you don't know. You have no idea. This is very unknown. I didn't even know I was planning on being an entrepreneur. That was not, right? Was that something that you thought? And that was what I was going to ask you. And that was where this was going, was like, where's your plan always to be like, your self-sufficient entrepreneur? Was that something you had in mind, or was that just something that came with the fact that you just decided to dive into this?
Actually, I've always wanted to be a business owner.
Okay.
Since I was younger, I mean, I kind of thought I could be like one of those head honchos in marketing, but
Mm,
I started wanting to own my own business like very early. I knew at some point I would have my own business. To be honest, I didn't think it would be as soon, and I wouldn't be self-sufficient fully now for, I think I'm going on, oh, I've passed 4 years. So probably over 4.5 years.
that's amazing. Yeah, I think for a lot of people, it's one way or the other, but no matter what, it's scary, right? So
Oh
I want to,
yeah.
yeah, it's no matter what, because I know for me, this is my second business, and I have had a business that, like you said, I built to six figures, and it was an amazing business, and I loved it, but there was just something calling me in a different direction, and I just had to follow that. And for you, you were in Thailand, which was crazy, and you were like on this personal journey, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And what was it for you that like was a turning point, maybe even to like be like, I can do another business, or I can do something different? Because I know you said, okay, I knew I could be a coach, but how did you dive into that? How did you say, I'm doing this?
Yes. Okay. So I didn't want to make my story too long, but you guys, I moved to California. It's 4-ish years now, however long I've been in business. And I was working in marketing. I was working in marketing. I had my own office. I made really good money right out of college. Really good money because I literally just I went into pretty much a management position right out of college because I got really good experience. And you guys, I moved to California without ever thinking that I'd be working for myself. I was planning on being like a marketing manager and making, starting at like 60K, honestly. And there was a point that I kept applying to positions, and I did not really want them. I was like, I don't actually want to go to a job. I don't actually want to do this. It was a point that I was just like, what? And I was like learning all this personal development and business and all these things. And I was like, what if I give myself 1 month to figure out how I can build whatever it is on my own? Like maybe it's just doing some like side jobs or freelance, or I didn't care. I just wanted to work for myself. And so what I started doing was Facebook ads. I
Mm.
saw an ad on how to be a Facebook ads coach, and I was like, I'm going to do that. That's where the money's at. And so I actually got a few months in, I had a few clients, I was doing that, and I was like liking it, but honestly, it felt like a job. It was like I was giving up a stable pay and building a business from the ground up for another job. Like, if your business feels like a job, like, I don't know, is that what you want? I didn't want that. So while I was in Thailand, I kept hearing about coaching, and that was the shift. It was away from all the naysayers in California or Utah or my friends and family, and just being like away from them, away from the fucking noise, and just being like, okay, why don't I just give it a try? I'm almost to the end of my money, literally, you guys. I was to the end of my money. I just got back from Thailand. It was about a month, and I was like, okay, let's just give it a try. I'm just gonna try it. Okay. So that's what I did. I gave it a try.
That is amazing. I literally always tell the story of how I started my first business. I had just gotten out of college, and I started my first business with $192 in my bank account and a credit card with a very, very low limit because I had like no credit. I had just gotten out of college, and like I had planned on obviously going in a complete different direction. I always tell
Yeah.
them, like, again, like I had nothing. I had nothing, and I could have lost even my $192 and been in whatever it was, $500 debt, even though it was, at that time I wasn't making anything. I had no idea if any of this was going to work. So I love
Yeah.
that you say that, because you don't have to have it all figured out either to get this going. If you feel like this is something you can be passionate about and you can go for it, you can do this. So you made that shift, which was a huge shift already, into saying, I'm going to go from selling little things on Etsy and that business blew up to now going Etsy and like an e-commerce is completely different than coaching. And then you went into coaching, and then you said, yeah, you lived in this world of being this level up Tia, you know, like you were kind of like, you felt like you had to kind of go, and I'm sure there might've been a little imposter syndrome when it came to that part of it. But now let's talk about that switch that you decided to go. And I know we're going to dive into like being able to own your unique self. And that is something you're very powerful about and very good at talking about, and the confidence behind that, obviously being a confidence coach. Tell us how you did that. Like, how did you decide, like, hey, I'm going to start talking about sex, and I'm going to start talking about being confident, and I'm going to start talking about these things, because that's strong. Like, I know that is really hard for a lot of people to do. You finally got into coaching, and now you're just really switching it up. How did you do that?
Yeah, so I've been a coach for now 4 years, and I would say there's a new level like every 6 months or every year. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it has been coaches. It has been coaches to help me get out of my own way. So I did share pole fitness right at the beginning when I was doing pole fitness in Utah. But it was like as soon as I got to being a business coach, I felt like I couldn't share it anymore,
Mm-hmm.
or like they wouldn't respect me. And so like even though I already shared it, I didn't feel like I could do it with business. And so there was a point that I hired a one-on-one. We did a VIP session, and I was just really called to her. She did do a post where she was in a bikini, a red bikini, and she was a business coach. And I was like, what?
What is
Man,
this?
I want to be a sexy business coach. And then so I hired her, and this makes sense now, but I didn't realize that, like
Yeah.
I didn't realize it. And so I hired her, and we were in San Diego. Literally, it was expensive. It was like $1,000 for one day.
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking to me about what I should post next and what I should share. And she's like, what's something that you do that nobody knows? I'm like, I'm awesome at twerking. Like, I can twerk like no other. Like, this is my party trick. Like, I could teach anybody, and I could twerk. And she was like, well, that's what you need to share. And she was pretty intuitive.
Yeah.
And she was like, this is you. I remember her saying that. I remember where I was sitting. She was like, you need to go share yourself twerking on video today.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to share this part of you. You are sexy. You are that person. This is part of your business. This is part of you. And I was just like, like, how am I going to get clients? Like, am I supposed to do this? Well, I just spent $1,000, so why don't I give it a try? It seems
Let's
like
go for it.
that's like the theme of this is let's just give it a try, like play
Mhm.
pretend and see what happens. And
Mhm.
so I did it, and it was freeing, and people loved it. And nobody did this, you guys. This was over 2 years ago. I don't know when it was. Nobody fucking danced online at the beginning of their live videos. Nobody said sexiness when they were talking about business.
Mhm.
Nobody did. I
Mhm.
didn't see anybody. And so I did it, and then I started doing little dances at the beginning of my live video, and like after some time people started copying me. Like people started like owning their sexy side and putting sexy in their content, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Okay, this is cool."
Yeah.
So that was kind of my process. And then I will say each level, what I learned from that coach, I kept doing. So like there's new levels, and I just went to a new level about like 5D business coaching and like spiritual side, which I was scared to share. And so there's new levels as you go.
I love that, because I feel like it's a lot of people, and this is a funny story about me, is that if you met me 5 years ago and asked me if I worked with female entrepreneurs and I was going to speak at summits for female entrepreneurs and I was going to have all this network of people, my mom still is baffled by this moment of knowing that I am this person. Like, I'm so outgoing and I'm proud of being loud. I'm a loud person. That's who I've always been. But I felt like you, I kind of had to like dumb that down. Like, I couldn't be as loud. I had to be more polished and pristine when I spoke. And a lot of you look at my beginning stuff was like that. Like I was very polished. Like I was very all done up, makeup done. I hate wearing makeup. Okay. So for me to be done up and being in full on makeup was not in my realm of being, and not saying makeup's a bad thing, but that's just not me. Right. So
Yeah.
it didn't match. And then I would never wear, like now I wear t-shirts and my fitness clothes because I live in fitness clothes. I came from the fitness industry and I thought I couldn't bring that in. And I'm
Yeah.
with you on that. Like it was this thing where it was like, am I going to be respected if I show a workout video? Am I going to be respected if I show myself in a bikini on the beach or doing a fitness video? Are they going to still see me as a coach? Like, is that what's going to be seen? And I'm like, but that's who I am. And so that's who the people I'm going to attract. So I love that you talk about that, because you started seeing other people kind of flourish from this idea of you showing your sexy side and this like amazing side of who you are. So I know you help a lot of people with this, is like being able to be their unique self, being comfortable, owning that. How do you help people do that? How do you yourself maybe even just get yourself out there and show up and get your clients to do the same? What is it that you do that really just, I know you love doing this. So what is it that you do that really gets you to show your unique self? Because I know you do. You're absolutely
Yeah.
amazing at it.
So I've done courses on this, and I had to really think of how I got here because I
Yeah.
grew up in Utah. I grew up in a very religious, quiet, don't be too much, you're a woman. Honestly, so many things I had to burst out of. Like, it's crazy how much I've grown and changed. And like, even going to Utah, I haven't been in a while, but it would be weird because
Yeah.
I've changed so much. So I kind of take through my clients through kind of what I had to do. And a big part of that is going through a lot of the shame. There's a
Mm.
lot of shame, especially around women. I mostly work with women.
Yeah.
And so I help them out of it. I'm not a trauma coach, but I have exercises that help them break through it. And then we go through like what their zone of genius is, what they're awesome at. And then for me, I do like having like smaller group coaching, or my systems kind of help you think of, or stories, what you're awesome at. And so I have exercises that they fill out, and then they kind of help realize like what they're awesome at, what their passion is, what makes them unique, because a lot of the people don't think they're really unique.
Yeah.
They don't know what their zone of genius is. So that is something that I kind of feel, especially one-on-one with people, is I can see it, I can feel it. I definitely am a cheerleader for my clients. And so I help that bring it out of them. And then just practicing it and just being a really good example.
Yeah.
And I would say doing the things that they're scared to do. So those are some steps for
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
you definitely practice what you preach. So that is something that to look up to, even if they're like too scared to do it. It's just like,
Yeah.
okay, well, my coach is doing it. I need to get out there and do it myself. And I think, like you said, this like process of moving up each like 6 months to a year, I went through the same thing. I went through a regular business coach, and then that's what I thought I needed. But I actually realized I needed someone that was more intuitive and spiritual, because that was the side that I lacked in. And I had a lot of boundaries, and just woo woo stuff just seemed really dumb to me at the time, like meditation or yoga or whatever. Like that stuff was like,
Yeah.
I came from the fitness industry. It's a very male dominated, especially in
Yeah.
person. It's a very male dominated industry. And showing your softer or weaker side was like a no no. You know, I lived in the
Yeah.
masculine. And so living in the feminine has been something that was a process for me. And I know that you
Mhm.
talk about this as well. How did you like, what do you
Oof.
do like to kind of, yeah, like bring that balance of living in the
Oof.
feminine? Because I know I I know I have a tough time with this, and I'm so much
Mhm.
better at it now,
Yeah.
obviously, but it's still a day-to-day process. I'm like,
Mhm.
let it down, Kamille, tell them your story, like go for it. Like, how do you feel about that? What do you do for yourself
Ooh,
too?
okay. So I have a lot of natural masculine energy. I'm a triple fire sign for my personality. I'm Aries, Aries, Leo. And so I have a lot of dominant energy, a lot of masculine energy. Um, and so, and I was just such a hard worker through college, and such a just do, do, do. Oh, there was a point in my business that it did not work that way. So I struggled. You guys, I succeeded pretty quickly, but then I got to a point and I struggled hard.
Mhm.
I don't know what it was a course that I bought that really hurt. It just wasn't me. Anyways, that's what got me to shift. Was I'm very happy. I'm very a positive person. I've never been in depression. I'm very lucky like that, but I did get into depression at that point
Mhm.
because I just kept working hard. And I was getting no success because this coach I hired was telling me to do all these things that didn't feel good to me and didn't work for me, and I thought I was wrong. And so I had to actually at this point I had to take a step back.
Mhm.
And then I had to really like, does this feminine energy really work? Because the masculine energy doesn't seem to work for me. How is it that I've never worked harder in my life for those 3 months and I didn't make success? And so I really had to like trust myself, trust my guidance, trust what I wanted to do, trust building a business around how I wanted to do it and stop thinking that I was missing something. And then, yeah, I learned a lot more about like feminine energy and like how to like work hard, but then get back and like how to trust myself and trust my intuition. I actually went through a 6-month workshop with
Mm.
somebody and it was
Mhm.
gifted to me. So there was a lot of um miracles and like blessings through this 3-month depression
Yeah.
from just pushing me into the feminine kind of like it literally put me into this receptive mode that I had to ask for help and do things that I've never done. So that I mean I was kind of pushed.
Yeah, no, and I love that because I think throughout all of this, you've kind of like made it clear that you just had to go for it. Like you just, no matter what the feeling was, you just knew there was something better on the other side. And like someone was telling you there was something better. So you just did it. And not every time is it going to work out. No, of
Yeah.
course not. That's entrepreneurship in
Yep.
general, of course. But I love that because that was the same for me. I always tell this story all the time. So I know you guys have probably heard it a million times since you're here, but I I was at that point too. I was living in the masculine. And my business wasn't failing, but I left. I sold a
Mhm.
6-figure business because I couldn't do it. I, like you
Mhm.
said before, like I felt like I was working like for someone else because I was like
Yeah.
unhappy at this point. Like I was so get clients, make money, look good. That's all I cared about. And that's not what
Yeah.
I'm about. Like I
Yeah.
love like my why and why I'm passionate and I'm making an impact. And I just lost that. And I literally sold my business the week before I got married, and the week after I went to a women's conference, knowing I just needed
Mm.
to get myself outside my box. Like I knew
Mhm.
that this was like the femininity. I was going to be surrounded by women crying, happy, like just the exact opposite of what I had been around for 4 years or whatever I was in that business. Like I just did it. And that was the shift. It was Angelique, and that was the podcast I started listening to that earlier that year.
Yes.
Yeah, I started, and that's what shifted me too. Was like a year before I sold my business, I started listening to her podcast, and I was like, wow, like female entrepreneurs seem like so like they're just like living life and they're living in this like amazing world. And I was just so like baffled by it that I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I signed up for her conference. Like I said, I got married a week later. I went and it was crazy. I was overwhelmed for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Like there was women crying next to me. There was women, I don't know, like just on the ground. Like it was just the craziest thing I've ever done. But I was so happy
Yeah.
that was the moment. Like I was like, okay, I'm moving into that feminine was the best choice I ever had. So
Uh,
you have a lot of businesses. I know that you do multiple things. So you're a coach. You're also obviously you still do your clothing line. And right now, obviously, you and I are constantly on the new application Clubhouse, which you're starting to become a huge person on that as well. So what are you like? Do you know what's coming next? Are you working with someone now? I know that coaches for me are always a go-to. You have to have a coach, and I know you have a coach as well. What are you looking forward to? What is next for this beautiful, serial, sexy entrepreneur?
okay. So, P.S. I want to go to Angie Lee's conference with you or do
um,
something. We should go to one of them.
It
I've
was
always
in San
want.
Diego last year or 2 years
Yeah.
ago. Oh my God, how long ago was it now? 2 years ago.
Yeah.
God,
she
okay.
lives there, so hopefully in the
Yeah.
future, I don't know, I do wanna go to one of her conferences. I think she's a great person and
Yeah.
she's awesome. So, yeah, let's keep that in mind for future
Yeah.
once things are open.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then okay, guys, this is like you're really great at this. This is a great question. So for me, to be honest, I love creating. I
Mhm.
love talking about sex and shame. I love more than anything helping women connect to their sexy side, get rid of that shame, and open up to pleasure and having better sex. Because I grew up in this area that so many women do not enjoy. They
Yeah.
don't even know the capacity. They don't even understand so many depths. I do not want to be a therapist. I do not want to be a sex coach. I want to be, I guess, help just it's like more of a empowerment, a speaker. I have courses on this that move women through it in a different way. So what I see next, especially when things open up more and even just on Clubhouse, which I'm working on doing, is
Yeah.
being known for that. Being
Yeah.
known for helping women get out of shame, owning their sexuality and having more pleasure. That's what I want to be known as. I want to be on stages with thousands of people. I
Yeah.
want my podcast to be fucking huge. Like, I
Yeah.
do. I want it huge. I want millions of people to hear this. I want millions of women to connect to their pleasure and change and start enjoying what they have and enjoying their feminine side, which
Yeah.
it's just a lot of shame. So that's my whole purpose.
Yeah, I love that because even though I grew up here in California and it's a little more open, I grew up in a household that did not talk about sex. And I had a younger brother, and my parents never even talked to him about the birds and the bees ever. Like,
What?
yeah, never. We never both, neither of us had never had a conversation about the birds and the bees with our parents, right? So I think that that's absolutely no matter where you kind of grow up. Sometimes it's the household that you grow up, and I love my family, but that was a huge thing. And I went into my younger years of when I, got my first boyfriend and all that stuff. I didn't really know. Like, I didn't know anything. I didn't know what to expect or what a man was supposed to treat me like or what it was supposed to be like. So I love that that's where you're going. And I think that it just shows right now why you are such a successful entrepreneur is that the things that came out of your mouth was like, I want women. I want them. It was not, I want me. I want them to feel this way. I want them to be able to. And it shows how much of an impact you want to make and why you're such an amazing entrepreneur. And I just wanted to say that because I think a lot of people need to remember that is no matter what you're doing, if you're a service provider, especially, you need to be wanting to make an impact. You want to serve other people. And that's what's going to bring you success, not how you want to make money or what you want to do. Not that that's not part of it, of course, but I think that I love that you said that. And I think what you're doing, you're totally going to do it. Like, you guys, she's absolutely amazing. And I want you to share where everyone can find you, what you have for them, what you can offer them, because I know there's going to be people that want to reach out to you for sure.
Thank you so much. I love that. I love doing podcasts. I'm Sexy Biz Babe. That's literally me on all the things. I keep it
Yeah.
very consistent. That is me. So on Instagram is where I hang out a lot, on Clubhouse, and then literally all the things. I do have a podcast called Sexy Biz Babe. So you can literally just look that up and find me on pretty much any social media. So check that out. And then, ladies, if you are ready to own it or break out of shame or own what type of business you want to make money off of or increase it, and have more fun and put more of your feminine energy and put more of you into your story and your message and be more authentic online where you actually love your business. Maybe you lost your passion, you lost your fun. I am awesome at that. And of course, marketing and sales is my jam, but I make it more heart centered and fun and around your purpose and your passion. So hit me up. I will offer on this, you get a free either 20 or 30-minute call, whatever is going at that time. And she could put a link there, but you could
Yeah.
just DM me and I'll send you the link to my calendar or I'll send you the link.
Yeah, absolutely, you guys. This is an amazing opportunity. And believe me, I am one of those people that didn't think I could marry the different versions of myself into my business. So you want to reach out to her so she can help you with that, especially if you're feeling disconnected from your business. That is a
Mm.
huge part of it, is I think that we start to feel disconnected because we're trying to be a certain way. So please reach out to Tia, Sexy Biz Babe. And of course, I'm always doing stuff with her. So you guys will probably see her all over my Instagram as well. But thank you so much, Tia. This was absolutely amazing. I appreciate you being here. And yeah, we'll probably have to do this again because I'm sure we have so much else to dive into. But thank you
Yes, I'm so
again.
down
Yeah.
for it.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Bye,
Thank
guys.
you.